Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, January 9, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the dad's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that the entire Atlantic basin is still being dominated by ridges of high pressure that are responsible for sending very fresh to strong easterly winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. You can also see that we still have that leftover cold front right there, stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic, all the way down to the north of the main development region. And it has induced a trough right there, represented by those broken red lines, to the north of the eastern Caribbean. We can also see the blue line right here across portion of the eastern United States associated with a very strong cold front that has been affecting sections of the United States with some amount of colder than average temperatures, blizzard-like conditions, heavy rains, thunderstorms, even tornadoes affecting the area. And we can see things even better on the latest visible satellite images for today. Before the sun went down, we can actually see those low level clouds being pushed from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. Lots of clouds right now training through the southern Caribbean to the south of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola. Right there, even affecting sections of the ABC Islands, with more to come. And some of these clouds will definitely be making it up into the Jamaica area, especially on Wednesday. We can also see the clouds associated with that cold front stretching all the way from northern section of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the main development region. And we can also see the clouds associated with that trough that is as induced right there to the north of the eastern Caribbean. If we also take a look over the northwest turn portion of this picture, we can see that we have a lot of clouds associated with that strong cold front, bring a lot of overcast skies, showers, and thunderstorms, not to mention snow-like conditions across sections of the central and eastern United States. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, January 9. It was stated that sections of eastern Jamaica would have received some afternoon rainfall on Tuesday. And we know eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. But what ended up happening? We actually had the clouds coming into sections of eastern Jamaica, more so eastern St. Thomas and Portland. But we saw something that the models didn't predict, and that was the cloud cover across sections of some northern and western parishes. So definitely sections of St. Anne, sections of St. James, not to mention Westmoreland and Hanover, gotten on some amount of overcast skies and isolated showers during the afternoon hours, as we can see by these visible satellite images today. And then by the time the sun was about to set, as we started to lose the daylight, it was more so some very clear skies as we could see here. But we can still see that strong east southeasterly flow across the island before the day was all said and done. If we take a look at the latest temperatures, we can see about 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, the temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can actually see that we have Jamaica still embedded in a lot of orange colors that represent up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, as we can see by the key on the right. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of January are about 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius when we take a look at the thermometer. And with 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures in the forecast for tomorrow, it should be anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most. Also, one of the images that I wanted to check out was the CPC, that's the Climate Prediction Center's 3 week forecast. It usually comes out on Tuesdays, and we can actually see what they are predicting for January 17th to the 23rd of January. We see a lot of blues across sections of the central and eastern United States, and we know all of those blues are representative of below average temperatures. We don't see much happening across Jamaica and the Caribbean at all. Actually, the time period from January 24th to January 30th is showing something similar. We don't see anything like what we see here at the bottom of the screen regarding the key. No tropical cyclone formation probability, no above normal rainfall, no below average rainfall, no above normal temperatures or below average temperatures. So it should be quite a normal January, and we know in terms of the rainfall across Jamaica, we don't have much to receive considering that it is the dry season. If we take a look at the dry air map, we can see that this map right here is showing all the dry air across the Caribbean, including Jamaica, with all of these yellows, oranges, and reds. And we see the orange colors across Jamaica. And as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, Jamaica and the Caribbean on a whole should be in the clear, as all of the dust represented by these brown colors should be across sections of Africa and the central and eastern main development region. As relates to the wave forecast, we can still see that the Euro and GFS are showing more so in the way of blues surrounding the island. And we know that's representative of 1.5 to 2 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east, and we can see that it's gonna be intensifying up to at least 25 knots where we see those yellows. We can see by the key on the bottom right. The greens represent anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, not to mention the yellows that represent 25 knots. So definitely it's gonna be coming in from the east, especially the northern and southern coastal areas out to sea. There could be some amount of small, kind of craft warning taking place out at sea. So fishers should be on their P's and Q's. As relates to the rainfall now, let's get into the nitty gritty, the meat of the matter. Rainfall forecast from both the Euro and the GFS are showing the blues that represent rainfall across eastern parishes in Jamaica, and this is valid for about 5 a.m. We see the blues that represent rainfall across those areas. Some of this rainfall could even spill into some southern coastal areas, maybe a section of southern St. Catherine, southern Clarendon as well, and we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this, but definitely Eastern Jamaica, St. Thomas, and Portland, as we can see here, those are the main areas being predicted to receive rainfall. And skipping ahead to about 10 a.m. So, yes, from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., it's still much of the same southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica getting in on that rainfall with all of these blues that represent the rainfall across those spots. So if you're going out tomorrow, please ensure that you take with you your rain gear. I'm talking to those persons who live in those parishes, Portland, St. Thomas, maybe even spilling into sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, sections of St. Catherine, section of Clarendon as well. Then finally, by 2 p.m., we are seeing that the blues that represent rainfall start to spill into sections of some central and western parishes. So it's starting to be eastern, central, western Jamaica getting in on that rainfall on the GFS, Euro showing something similar. And with the accumulated precipitation forecast showing that the most rainfall is expected across eastern Jamaica, it makes sense considering that we still see a lot of rainfall from 5 a.m. to about 2 a.m., 2 p.m., sorry, on that part of the island. So eastern Jamaica definitely going to be getting in on that rainfall tomorrow, most of the rainfall. And we can see the Euro showing up to 0.42 of an inch of rainfall for the totals. GFS showing up to 0.34 of an inch of rainfall. We're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall tomorrow. We're in the month of January. We usually receive up to 97.75 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So yes, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get. before we head into the month of February. We know February is the driest month of the year. So yes, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before some kind of hydrological drought takes shape across the island, where the National Water Commission might have to impose some amount of water restrictions. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of clouds coming into sections of the Turks and Caicos, maybe sections of the Bahamas, sections of Florida, the eastern United States associated with that cold front. Not to mention sections of the ABC Islands, sections of the Windward Islands as well, with some leftover clouds. You can also see a lot of clouds bringing overcast skies, even some thunderstorms in there across sections of northeastern South America. And this includes sections of French Guyana, Suriname, and Guyana, not to mention even spilling into sections of Venezuela. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we don't see much of anything happening across those spots for today. But if we skip southward and look across the Windward Islands, we do have some leftover stray showers, just like what we saw in the visible satellite images just now, right there to the south and west of Barbados, affecting sections of the Grenadine Islands as we speak. Not to mention sections of Tobago, not so much Trinidad at all. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we do see the tail end of that cold front with all of the heavy rainfall represented by those greens, yellows, and reds that's about to enter into sections of southwest Florida, even sections of the Keys of Florida are going to be getting nailed tonight into tomorrow. And we can also see that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of northeastern South America, so French Guyana, Suriname, section of Guyana. And for a brief moment, when the ABC Islands radar wasn't glitching, we actually saw that rainfall that we mentioned as well. If we take a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see that this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Wednesday. That's actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we do see that majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on those orange colors that represent even up to 4 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. As it relates to the Sahara and dust forecast, as we can see, majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, as all the dust associated with the Sahara Desert is represented by those brown colors, and all of that is located across sections of the central and eastern main development region, not to mention across Africa. As relates to the wave forecast, we do see that we should be averaging anywhere from 1.5 to 2 meter wave height, even getting up to 3 meters in some spot where we see those purples, even some burgundy colors. And that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east across the Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, gusting up to 25 knots in some areas where we see those yellow colors. And we can see that for the most part, the wind should be coming in from the east across the eastern Caribbean, from the east southeast across the central and the western Caribbean. As relates to the rainfall forecast now, we do see the consensus in terms of the rainfall that's expected for a section of the Leeward Islands, as we can see by the Euro and the GFS, coming in from the east northeast. So maybe sections of the U.S. Virgin Islands, eastern Puerto Rico might get in on some of the action. Sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent might get in on some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours. Not to mention sections of Trinidad, eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, and we can also see some amount of rainfall in store for sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, western Cuba, sections of southern Florida, the Bahamas, as well as sections of the Cayman Islands. And we can also see that we see some greens right there across sections of the ABC Islands, just like what we're seeing right now on the satellite images. They're definitely getting in on the action as we speak. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing something similar like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.